Have you ever had that brilliant idea, that spark? The one you just knew could be a successful business. But then maybe the excitement kind of fades, and that big question is, what does it really take to turn that vision into reality? Beyond just the cool idea. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into something absolutely foundational for anyone thinking about starting a business, the business plan.
Yeah, it's often seen as this dry document, maybe a bit academic, but as we're going to unpack, it's actually more like a dynamic blueprint for success. Our source material for this is a really comprehensive guide. It strips away the theory and gets right into the practice of building one. And to help us walk through this, we're going to follow Ali. He's a recent college grad in Riyadh, loves traditional Arabic coffee, right? And he wants to create an app to help people find the best coffee shops in Saudi Arabia. Think features like, does it have good seating, Wi-Fi, ethically sourced beans, can you reserve a table? Order takeaway. Ali's idea, his journey, that's going to be our guide through this whole deep dive.
Exactly. And the mission here really is to understand the stages of writing a business plan, not just as like a checklist you have to tick off, but as a strategic tool. What's really fascinating is how it forces an entrepreneur, someone like Ali, to confront these crucial questions, sometimes uncomfortable ones. It makes sure you're dealing with the really important stuff right from the start. It builds clarity and confidence too.
Absolutely. Because a strong business plan, it isn't just about having a great idea, is it? It needs to clearly show you've got 5 core things lined up. The right opportunity, the right critical resources, the right people, the right financing structure, and all of that working within the right context.
Okay, so let's unpack these core pillars. When you talk about the right opportunity and critical resources for someone like Ali just starting out, what does that actually mean? Okay, so the opportunity part, that's really about the market itself. Does it have potential? Is the industry you're looking at actually attractive? Is there real demand? Can you actually carve out a niche that makes money? And critical resources that goes way beyond just having money in the bank. It includes your human assets. So think key suppliers, a good accountant, maybe a lawyer, even potential investors who bring more than just cash advice, connections. And then there are the hard assets. Things like accounts receivable money customers owe you, or maybe inventory, though for Ali's app, inventory is probably less of a thing.
Right. So you spot a gap, you've got some resources, but then the right people and the right financing structure. For someone like Ali, maybe starting solo, how does he show the right people?
Yeah, that's a really critical question. The right people is about the team, even if initially the team is just Ali. Investors look for integrity, they look for breadth of experience, depth of knowledge. They want to see capability, basically. So for Ali, it means highlighting his skills, sure, but also maybe acknowledging where he needs help. Advisors, future hires, that sort of thing. And the financing structure, that's how you'll fund it. Is it debt, like a loan, or equity selling a piece of the company? And that split, the ownership, that can really impact your incentive. How motivated you are. Give away too much equity early on. Well, it changes things.
Okay. And the last one, the right context.
Yeah.
That sounds like the external stuff. Things outside your control.
Precisely. Context is all those external forces. They can be tailwinds helping you along, or headwinds making things harder. Think the regulatory environment, interest rates, big demographic shifts, inflation. These are kind of the economic and social tides that affect your journey, no matter how good your idea is. And this brings up a key insight, actually. Investors, especially the busy ones, they tend to prefer familiar formats for business plans. It might be tempting to make yours look really unique, stand out, but deviating too much. It can be risky. They see hundreds of these things. They want clarity, efficiency. Making them hunt for information is, well, not a great start.
That's a great point. A real potential pitfall for entrepreneurs trying to be different. Okay, let's get into the nuts and bolts then. The actual content, the format. Our source lays out 13 key steps, starting with the essentials. First up, the cover page. You might think, okay, formality, but it's that very first impression, isn't it?
It absolutely is. It's not just a placeholder. It's like your professional handshake on paper. You need the basics. Company name, address, phone, website. Don't forget your tagline and logo. They subtly communicate your brand. And crucially, the contact person, usually the president, with all their details, the date it was prepared. And if you're showing it to investors, you must have a confidentiality disclaimer. It says it's for qualified investors, not to be copied. Oh, and a pro tip, number your copies. Helps you track who has what.
Good tip. Okay, next, table of contents. Seems obvious, right? But what's its real strategic purpose beyond just listing page numbers?
Its real purpose is navigation for busy people. Investors, potential partners.
Yeah.
They won't always read it cover to cover. They're often jumping around looking for the financials, maybe the management team, the competition. A clear table of contents lets them spot read, find what they need quickly. It respects their time, shows you're organized.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Step 3, the executive summary, often called the most important section. Why does it carry so much weight?
Because if you don't grab them here, they won't keep reading. Simple as that. Think of it like a movie trailer for your business. It has to give a clear, concise picture of the whole venture. And most importantly, it needs to create excitement, real excitement, so they feel they have to read the rest. But here's the catch. You write it last, even though it appears first. It summarizes the finished plan, and the biggest mistake people make, letting it sprawl. Keep it to 3 pages max, preferably 2. Busy people will just skip a long one.
Right, get to the point. So, what are the absolute must-have ingredients for this powerful summary?
Okay, you need several key pieces, all boiled down. A clear description of the opportunity you found, an explanation of the unique value you add, a quick industry overview, a snapshot of your target customer and market analysis, what your competitive advantage really is, the basic economics, how you'll make money, info on your management team, and finally, the offering. That's where you state exactly how much money you need if you're seeking funding and what you'll use it for.
Moving on. Step 4, the company description. For Ollie, recent grad, app idea, how does he frame what type of business this is and where it's going?
Right. This section tells the reader the basics. What kind of business, your main goals, where it's based, the scope local, national, international. Ollie needs to answer things like, when and where is this actually starting? What are the objectives? What stage is the app in idea, prototype, working product? Any achievements so far, even small wins? What's the competitive edge? The core activity? What does the app do? Who are the customers? Legal form. Probably a sole proprietorship for Ollie at first, meaning he's personally liable. Maybe an LLC later for protection. And critically, the exit strategy. Does he want to sell it eventually? Go public. Pass it on. For Ollie right now, the section might be pretty brief. It's still mostly an idea, focusing on the vision and early research. He needs to show he's thought about these things, though.
Makes sense. Okay, step 5, industry and competitive analysis. This is where Ollie proves there's a real market, right? Not just for coffee, but for his kind of app.
It's exactly. The main goal here is to show the opportunity and demonstrate there's a big enough market. So Ali needs to describe the broader industry he's entering, coffee culture, tech apps in Saudi Arabia. How big is it? Is it growing? What are the key trends? Who are the major players? Big coffee chains? Other tech solutions? For the industry part, you look for underserved segments. Where's the gap his app fills? Then the competitive analysis. You dig into your competitors' strengths and weaknesses. Ollie should ask, what are the things that frustrate people now that my app can fix? What do competitors do well that maybe I can learn from or even do better?
And applying that to Ollie, he found no single app doing everything he envisions, right? Just bits and pieces from coffee shops themselves.
Yeah, that's a good starting point for him. He needs to really list out those competitor strengths and weaknesses, then pinpoint exactly how his app offers a genuinely better service. Is it more comprehensive, easier to use, more reliable? He also needs to think about regional availability and what unique features or promotions will make people choose his app.
Got it. Step 6, target customer and market analysis. Knowing who you're selling to seems just fundamental. How specific does Ollie need to get here?
It is fundamental. And yeah, the more specific, the better. You define your target customer using demographics, education, gender, location, age, income. For Ollie, his main customers are probably, like you said, tech-savvy coffee drinkers. Maybe initially focusing on that 15-25 age group. They use apps heavily. Frequent cafes. Being clear on this helps design the app to meet their needs. And it helps identify competitors more accurately, too. Ollie needs to answer. How big is this specific group? What are their biggest pain points when finding coffee shops? Are there maybe even bigger problems his app touches on? How exactly does his app solve their problem better than anything else? And crucially, why would they download his app and keep using it? And importantly, this shouldn't just come from, market research reports. Ollie needs to actually talk to potential customers. Ask them directly, what do you care about in a coffee shop? What would make you download an app like this? Would you trust the reviews? And how should it make money? Charge users. Charge the coffee shops for premium listings. Direct feedback is gold here.
Absolutely. Okay, step 7, the product service plan. Time to really make the case for the app itself, how it fills that gap or is, better, cheaper, faster.
Right. This section is all about describing your product or service, focusing on that competitive advantage. For physical products, investors love seeing prototypes. For Ollie, this means maybe having mock-ups or even a basic working version of key app features. He needs to clearly explain how his app fills a real gap or is just plain superior to current options. He has short-term ideas, like the factual data Wi-Fi, seating, etc., and longer-term plans like reservations and takeaway. But he needs evidence. Evidence that his product is genuinely better and that customers actually want those features. He should do some research, maybe surveys or focus groups to justify those longer-term goals. And definitely consider building and testing some core features early to get feedback.
So you've got the product plan nailed down. Now, the big challenge, getting customers to switch and then keeping them. That's step 8, the marketing plan.
Exactly. This section covers your whole strategy for reaching and keeping customers. You need that compelling value proposition, why choose this app. You've got to detail how you'll identify and attract those tech-savvy coffee lovers. What pricing models will you use? For users, for cafes, what sales and advertising methods? For Ollie, probably starting as a sole trader, his budget might be tight. So he needs to think about effective, low-cost techniques, social media, local influencers, early user incentives, maybe partnerships with coffee shops, and distribution. How will people find the app? Primarily app stores, right? So how does he optimize his listing there for visibility?
Makes sense. Step 9, operations and development plan. This is about how the magic happens behind the scenes, right? How the app gets built, updated, how that creates value.
Yep. This section explains how the product is made or the service delivered, and how your operational approach gives you an edge. It's about efficiency and value creation. For Ollie, it's an app, so initially he can probably operate remotely. Low overhead. But he needs to think ahead. What happens if it takes off? Will he need an office, hire people, or will he outsource the complex software development? He needs to research those potential development costs for the features he wants and be honest about his own technical skills. Does he have the know-how and the tools to build a commercial-grade app? Quality assurance is huge, too. How will he ensure the app works reliably and the information is accurate? That's critical for trust.
Okay, step 10, management team. We've heard investors say they'd rather back an A team with a B product than the reverse. Why is this section so incredibly critical?
It's critical because investors are betting on people. As much as the idea itself, they want well-managed companies. Now, it's also true that even the best team in a dying market, well, they can still fail. Success needs both. Good team, growth market. So this section should detail your organizational structure, who does what, and the backgrounds of key people. Ideally, you want a balanced team. Someone good with finance, someone with marketing, production, or development skills, innovation, a mix of talents.
But what about Ali? Recent grad, no staff yet. How does he handle the management team section when it's just him?
That's a common challenge for solo founders. He needs to highlight his own relevant skills, that app development course, maybe other projects. But crucially, he needs to talk about his plan. How does he intend to build the team as the app grows? How will he find and manage people? What kind of budget will he need for salaries? He might not have a fancy org chart yet, but he can outline the key functions needed, product, marketing support, and how he plans to fill those roles, even if it's with freelancers or advisors at first. It shows foresight.
Okay, that makes sense. Step 11, critical risks section. A good plan tells a story of success, but it also needs to be realistic about potential bumps in the road.
Absolutely vital. A plan without a risk section just looks naive. Investors know there are risks. They want to see that you know it too. This section identifies potential pitfalls and, importantly, how you plan to mitigate them. Common risks. Maybe the market just doesn't accept your product. Competitors launch something similar or better. Things take longer or cost more than you budgeted. You can't get enough funding. And it's especially true for new things, like Ollie's app. They need to be significantly better to overcome inertia. It's hard work getting people to change habits, try something new.
So for Ollie's coffee app, what specific risks should he be thinking about?
Well, his initial financial risk might seem low. Not huge upfront costs compared to, say, manufacturing. But barriers to entry in app design. Could someone copy his idea easily? Will coffee shops actually want to partner with his app, or will they prefer their own solutions? How hard is it really to build a successful app from scratch and get noticed? What about the risk of bad data? Incorrect info on the app could kill trust fast. And are there specific laws in Saudi Arabia around data privacy or consumer reviews he needs to be aware of? Lots to consider there.
Definitely. Okay, step 12, financial plan and offering. This is where the numbers really come in, proving the business can actually sustain itself and be profitable.
Indeed. If you're looking for investment, the offering section is key. You state clearly, how much money do you need and when do you need it? Often you use the sources and use this table. It's like a detailed budget showing the type of funding, debt, or equity, and exactly how you'll spend it. And this is where that tricky decision about giving up ownership, equity, comes in. Funding usually aims to cover the first say 12 to 18 months.
And for Ollie specifically, he's got the idea, maybe some basic skills from his course, but no prototype yet, limited business experience.
Right, so that raises a big question. Is seeking investment the right move for him right now? Maybe not yet. And investors often bring more than just cash, right? They might offer expertise, connections, mentorship, things Ollie could really use. He needs to think about what he needs besides money.
So what about the financial plan itself? The projections?
Right, the pro forma statements. These are your projections, your financial forecast, usually for at least 3 to 5 years. You'll typically include projected balance sheets, income statements, and crucially, cash flow statements, usually done annually. And these forecasts have to be grounded in reality, tied directly to your business model, your market analysis, your marketing plan. They can't just be wishful thinking.
You mentioned cash flow statements needing special attention.
Yes, absolutely. Pay special attention here. Because a business can look profitable on its income statement, but still run out of cash and fail. It happens all the time. The cash flow statement shows where cash comes from operations, investors, and where it goes investing in inventory, equipment, R&D, paying salaries. It needs to clearly show how much cash you'll need from lenders or investors and what you'll use it for. For Ollie, this means trying to predict income, how many users, what will they pay, will cafes pay, and predicting monthly costs, app development help, maybe travel for research, marketing spend. He needs to figure out his break-even point.
Okay, last step. Step 13. The appendix of supporting documents. Is this just the dumping ground for extra stuff?
No, definitely not. Just because it's at the back doesn't mean it's secondary. It's really important. The appendix holds all the supplementary materials that back up the claims you made in the plan. Things like detailed resumes of the key people owners, managers, key hires. For Ollie, his own detailed resume is critical here. It could also include photos of a product or location, professional references, the detailed market research studies you cited, relevant published articles, maybe even signed contracts or letters of intent if you have them. Like we said about the management team, nothing is more important to an investor than the quality of the people. The appendix is where you provide the powerful objective evidence to back that up.
So after walking through this entire detailed blueprint for Ollie's coffee app venture, what really stands out to you as the main takeaway for our listeners?
I think what becomes really clear is how interdependent everything is.
Right.
The right opportunity needs the right resources, brought together by the right team, funded by the right structure, all happening in the right context. Every single section of that business plan, from the cover page and that crucial executive summary, right through to the appendix, plays a vital, connected role. It's about telling a complete, credible story. It's not just a collection of sections. It's a coherent, strategic narrative.
Yeah, it's so clear. It's not just a document you write and forget about. It's this dynamic, strategic process. It forces you to think deeply, plan rigorously, constantly check your assumptions. It really is the entrepreneur's compass, isn't it? Guiding you through that initial maze of starting up and helping you stay on track.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought to leave people with. Beyond all the meticulous planning we've talked about in these steps, what unpredictable context shift, maybe a totally new technology, a sudden global event, a massive change in what consumers want, what could make or break even the most perfectly crafted business plan. And how can you, as an entrepreneur, try to prepare, even just mentally, for the truly unforeseen? Because the only real constant is change, right?
That's a fantastic question, something for all of us to think about. As you reflect on Ollie's potential journey and the steps we covered, think about how you might approach your own ideas with this kind of structured yet flexible thinking. It's about controlling what you can while being ready for what you can't.